Hi cutie pies, it's Lanikia, and I'm coming to you with another episode of Lovecraft Country, Season 1, Episode 3, called Holy Ghost. Listen, I know I'm behind. I'm going to get caught up and get ready for Sunday, but listen, I had to take a break from the show. It creeped me out. Like, I can't even watch this show at night. I have to watch it on a Monday morning at like 9 o'clock just to get my mind right. Especially this episode, it creeped me out. But let's get into it. So it starts with Letty at the church, and she sheds a tear. No, there's a lot that's happened. George is gone. He died. She died, but she brought back to life. She's just dealing with a lot. And then we see it goes to black, and they have words on there, and it tells us that 10 black men and women went into a house in 1955, and 10 days later, 3 people went missing. So then we go. Okay, so then it gets into the episode. So Letty is walking Ruby to a house, and she's brought, and you can see all these white people because they're in a white neighborhood in 1955, and they're looking, and they're not appreciative of a black person being in their neighborhood. And so Ruby is just like, how did you get this house? Girl, what's going on? Like, we're in this white neighborhood. You know what happened to the last time people tried to, black people tried to do all of this. You know what happened or whatever. But Ruby's like, yeah, we'll be fine. Come on. I bought this house. And Ruby goes inside, and she's like, girl, I see why you bought it, because it didn't look great. But she says, we can work on it, and we can bring people in that are struggling, and we can help our people. So anyway, she sells Ruby on moving in because she wants to be closer to her. She wants to be more like sisters and things of that nature. So she sells Ruby, and so Ruby goes ahead and moves in with her, with the house. So then we see that Letty, okay, so then they go to the elevator, right? Because she's showing Ruby the house. And as they go to the elevator, it's not, and Letty's like, oh my gosh, it was working, but it's not working. But what happens is the little elevator rolls down, and before it can hit Ruby and kill her, Letty, and kill her, Ruby pulls her back, and they fall back. And Letty starts laughing, and Ruby's like, that's not funny. And so we see Letty laughing, but when they do a close-up and she's turned away from Ruby, we see that she's really freaked out about that. Because remember, she's already died once, So it really freaked her out about that. So then we see Hippolyta so she's getting ready. And Tika got on Hippolyta's nerves. Okay, so before she goes into the kitchen, she's looking at this, she has George's Dracula book, and she's ripping pages out. So it's like she's quietly keeping her devastation and rage. I mean, she's got to be upset with George for getting killed, even though, she feels bad. She's just devastated, and she doesn't believe what's happened. She doesn't believe the story that they're telling her. So that's the rage as well. She's just upset, and so she's ripping the pages out of his Dracula book. That's George's favorite book, so she's ripping the pages out of that book. And so she goes into the kitchen, and Tick has cooked eggs and all that kind of stuff. He don't got on her last nerve at this house. He's trying to take the role of George, not take George's role, but he's trying to help her out as much as he can. We find out he's been there 3 weeks. He tells her that the travel, for the book, the travel guide book, they needed it sent over, and he told her he already sent it over. And she was like, I didn't approve any of that, and he was like, I hope it's all right. He done got on her nerves, y'all. I know I said that 3 times, but that's it. He's just gotten on her nerves. He's worn out his welcome. She doesn't believe what he's telling her, so that's a big part of it as well. So he needs to leave. That's pretty much what it boils down to. He needs to get out. So then Tick goes to his dad, who's drunk, and he is talking in his sleep. And it's a story about a stranger swinging a bat. And they tell you, they say, I got you, kid. What is the thing with the whole Jackie Robinson? Anybody know? Like, what's the thing? I don't understand it. So Tick asks to stay there because he knows, Hippolyta didn't say it, but he knows she's tired of him. So he asks to stay there with his dad, and his dad says, okay. And Tick is he wants to tell Hippolyta what happened to George. And his dad, Montrose, says no, what would that benefit? She can't do anything. But Tick is just like, she knows, she knows something more happened than what we're saying. And they get into this heated argument. His dad slams his hand down. They both stand up, and Tick leaves. Because you remember, Tick was abused by his father. So he's like, I'm out of here. So we see Letty moving into her house, and Tick stops by, and she's like, I haven't seen you in 3 weeks. And so the word on the street is that she won the lottery. That's how she's saying. I guess she's saying she got the money. But anyway, he tells her he's leaving. He's going back to Florida. He was only supposed to be gone like a few days, and it's been that long. She tells him she has an extra room. He doesn't even have to pay. But she has an extra room for him available if he wants to stay. And he's saying no, and then they hear horns blaring. And so they go outside, and they see that it's a group of these white guys that have lined their cars in a row in front of their house. And they've put bricks on their car horns, and they're just standing out there being intimidated, just being jerks. Because they don't want them in the neighborhood. So that makes Tick say, okay, I'll stay a little bit longer, because he wants to make sure everyone is safe. She's safe. And as they're doing that, the police drive by, and they don't do anything. They just look the other way as they're doing it. So then we see, so Letty is in bed, and then we see a ghost is bothering her, and it pulls the cover off of her. And then she gets up, and it's super hot in the room. So she goes downstairs, y'all. And when she goes downstairs, she cuts off because I guess the boiler had overheated. So she cuts that off, and then she hears this knocking. And she's like, what is that? And so when she keeps going, and she hears voices and the knocking, and it scares her. So she runs back upstairs, and she gets Tick, and Tick comes down, and it's not there. They don't hear anything, and he tells her this room that could be a dark room, the basement that she was going to. It could be great for a dark room, but he tells her, he believes her. He said, all the stuff we went through, I believe you that what you heard or saw, everything was real. And she tries to grab his hand or whatever, and he pulls away. So yeah, that's that. So then we see Letty is having a party because they're officially moved in, and they're so Hippolyta supplies all the food. So they're having this party. She's going around giving people lemonade and stuff, and Hippolyta has supplied all the food. And she tells Letty that she's glad to be rid of it because it's all food that people have dropped off because of George's passing. And she said even with Tick eating more than his share, and Letty was like, I thought he was helping, and Hippolyta said, he leaves the cup up, and George always turned it down, or whatever. And and so Letty's like, does he remind you of Montrose? Why am I saying that? Does he remind you of George? If that's what the problem is? And she says, no, I'm just being silly. And I think she just knows more is going on, and they're not telling her. So then we see that Dee and her friends are like up in in one of the rooms, and they're playing with a Ouija board, y'all. And so they ask the Ouija board, like one of the little boys says, will he have a great time on this trip? And they say no. And then they said, who? And then another little boy says, who is this? And the Ouija board types out, George is dead. And of course, Dee is upset about that. She was like, what? Which one of y'all doing? And they were like, that was not us. We didn't type that out. So then, they run off. So Hippolyta sees an abandoned open she sees an open door and she hears the whispering. So she goes in there, and this is this contraption. Can anybody tell me what that is? It's this contraption there, and she's fascinated by it. She almost seems mesmerized by it. In one of the rooms at Letty's house. So Letty is dancing, and Tree comes up to Tick, who's in full military uniform, because he's been bypassing Letty the whole time, like not paying attention to her. Did y'all hear that story they were talking about Martin Luther King about he was engaged to a white woman, but they said no, and so he had to marry. Yeah. I just heard that in passing, and I was like, okay. But anyways, so Tree goes up to Tick, and he says, yeah, is that it's something going on between you and Letty, and Tick is like, he's pretty much like, no. And Tree says, well, if I used to hang with her back in the day, if you know what I'm saying. It seems like he was implying that they used to be intimate or sleep together. And so he said, but if that's George, you need to put a claim on her, because she's dancing all close and stuff to this man, and she sees Tick watching her, and that makes her dance even harder with him, or whatever. So then we see Letty goes to the bathroom, and she's washing her face because it's hot. So she's washing her face and everything, and we see in the mirror, she doesn't see it, but we see a ghost looking back at her. And when she looks up, she turns, and it's Tick. And so he comes to the bathroom. Now he's frustrated because he does want her, but I don't know why Tick tripping. He does want her, but I guess he's gonna be going. He's gonna be leaving. He doesn't want to start a relationship with her because they have a lot of stuff going on personally. He's gonna be leaving soon, and she's gonna be there and all that, and she's frustrated because she likes him, but he doesn't like her back. He doesn't reciprocate her feelings. So they're both frustrated. Anyways, they end up sleeping together in the bathroom and everything. And she's bleeding, and she tells him she's sorry. She didn't know she started her menstrual, and he's like, "That's okay." And she tells him, let her clean up so he leaves the bathroom, and then she starts crying when after he leaves. Okay, so then they're sitting there talking, and Ruby is talking, and she's talking about how more black people should think like her and want to work in the white stores and all that kind of stuff, and get and if they did, it would be easier for her to try to get into those type of stores, or just them having extra jobs in general. And as she's talking, Letty is sitting behind her, but Letty's not really there. And so then we see that there's a commotion outside, and we look and we see that there's a burning cross. So they have burned a cross outside this girl house, and it just sit Letty over the edge. She runs to get a baseball bat, Tick, and 3 other guys get guns, and Letty just goes through, smashing all the windows out of the car, the headlights. She throws, she knocks the bricks off so the horns will stop blaring, because those horns were on there non-stop. That's constantly. That's all they heard, constantly going on. So then we see before they get arrested. Before they get arrested, they put all the guns, and Ruby gets the car, and they put all the guns in the car, and Ruby drives off because they don't need to be without guns. So she drives off so that they can keep their guns. And so Letty and the 4 men, Tick and the 3 other men that had the guns, they get arrested. Now we see Letty is in a van with the police chief, our captain, on her own, and they start swinging her around the van because they want to know, how did you get the money to pay for this house? And so he tells her, you don't even know the kind of house you got. We found the bodies of, body parts of 8 black people buried in the house. And she had no idea. So then Letty is back home in the dark room, and she's looking at her photos, and she sees little scratches. And so she gets the photos, lays them all out on the ground, and then this spirit comes up out of the photos and tells her, get out of his house, or whatever. The face comes out, and she gets, of course, freaked out by that. So So then Letty goes and she starts looking through the house at all of her pictures, and she starts seeing weird stuff in her pictures. Now Ruby's trying to talk to Letty because she's like, girl, that little stunt you pulled has got these people wanting to leave. Like, they're scared. And they're wanting to leave now. And we got to pay the rent here. And she says, oh, I still got money left from Mama. Don't worry about it. And Ruby's like, what are you talking about? And so then Letty says their mom tells Ruby their mom left the money. She didn't win the lottery. Their mom left the money and everything. And Ruby is disappointed because she's like, I've sent you money. I've helped you over the years. And if you really wanted to be family, you wanted to be fair, you wanted to be a sister, you would have split that money between you, Marvin, and I. But you're selfish like you've always been. At least Mother was, honest and admitted that she was just a selfish person. You try to hide it. And she said, also, you said you built this house to help our people, but all you have in here is your little artist friends. So Ruby's pretty much fed up with Letty. She's like, I'm done. I'm out. And so then we see, excuse me, y'all, flipping the purge. So Hippolyta goes to the guide office, and Montrose is there, and he helps her with everything, and her bag falls, and he picks it up, and she says, oh, something happened she spilled coffee or something on George's favorite book, Dracula, so she had to buy another one. Remember, she ripped the pages out of that. But she tells him what he says happened to George isn't what happened. Now, did anybody see? Because she was sitting there and something fat went past the window fast. The music changed, and then it was like she came back to herself. I don't know what's going on with that, but we'll see, because this show is freaky and they have a lot of hidden stuff going on. But anyway, she came back to herself, and Montrose is just like, what you want me to say, Hippolyta? She said, I don't know, but I just want you to tell me the truth. But of course he won't tell her. So then we see Letty is at a restaurant, and she says that her house is haunted. And Tick says, tell me about it. And she starts telling him about this. The person that sold her the house told her about the previous owner, but she can't find any information on him. But she does find information on this doctor who had the house. And she thinks the doctor was experimenting on these black people, because the police captain, he always found people, like missing people, and they were always dead and everything. And she believes that he was supplying the black people to this man so that he can experiment on them. And Tick tells Letty to move out. He said, let this go, girl. Move out. That house is haunted, and she don't want to leave her house. And then she tells him that what happened was her first time, and he was like, what was your first time? And so then he realizes that she was a virgin that night, and he feels bad because, he was like, he didn't know that, so he treated her like she was not. And but she tells him no, she needed that, because since she died, she needed something to feel alive. Like, she's been throwing herself in all these different projects just to feel alive and everything. So then we see Letty and Tick, and they bring this woman in, and she cuts the throat of a goat, and they're supposed to, they put the blood on for protection and everything, and they go down to the basement. Now, while they're down there chanting, trying to get this spirit out of Letty's house, these three white guys break into the house. And I don't know, I guess they were going to plan on beating somebody up or something. But they don't get to, because other spirits in that house start attacking them. So as they're getting, one is killed by the elevator, and then the other two go into that room with Hippolyta was in. And remember that contraption that was there is gone. I don't know if Hippolyta took it or whatever, but that contraption that was there earlier is gone. But anyway, they died too. So then Letty, and they're thinking that the spirit is leaving and everything. So they but then all of a sudden water starts pouring on them, like the sprinklers, and it takes away their blood of their seal of protection. And so they're trying to run out the house, but the spirit gets inside of the I don't know what to call it, the woman that's helping them get rid of the ghost. The spirit gets inside of her, and he is telling them to get out of the house and everything, and then it attacks. It throws Letty out of the way, then it attacks Tick, and it transfers from the woman to Tick. Did the woman die? I don't know. It goes into Tick, and so then Tick starts approaching Letty, and he's the spirit, and he's telling her, like, get out of my house, B, get out of my house. And she's just like, she starts calling on all of the ghosts that man, because she realizes that man that he is killed, and she's like, you're not dead yet, help me get rid of him. And so they all start appearing, and the experiments he was doing on them, he was wrong for that, but they all start appearing, and they all lock up, and they start chanting the words to get him out of the house. And as they're doing this, you see the experiments that he had done on their bodies start to disappear, and they start to become themselves again, back into their original bodies. And then the little boy in the baseball outfit was there. I don't know what's going on with the whole. Can someone tell me, explain, if you're watching and you know, can you explain it to me? But anyways, so they chant, and she gets the mad doctor out of her house. And that's the end of that part of it. So then we see a woman comes to do a cover story on Letty, because she truly did make her house available for low-income people to be able to stay there and get on their feet and everything. And so the woman asks, so the elevator's working, and they go up the elevator and everything, and the woman asks her about the 3 men that disappeared. Did she know anything about it? Have she knew anything about that? And Letty was like, what? I haven't even heard that. So then, y'all, we see the elevator start working again, and it goes down, and there's all these little markings and stuff. And when the elevator goes to the bottom, we see the 3 men, the white guys that were killed, and then you look, and it just lights up, and it's all these bodies at the bottom of the, I guess because this, I believe, even lower than the basement was. So I don't know what's going on in that elevator. She ain't, whatever spirit that's controlling that elevator, she didn't get rid of that. She didn't get rid of that one. So I don't know. So that was that as far as that goes. So then Tick goes to see the realtor that Letty bought the house from, and lo and behold, Christina was behind it. So Christina, he closes all the blinds, and he says, I'm here to make sure you leave my family. So he pulls the gun on Christina, and she, puts a spell on him and freezes him. And she tells him about the story of this man who has the pages. And she feels like if they can get the pages, use Tick's bloodline and all that, get the pages, then they could, have the garden. I don't know, child. But anyways, it ends with her. They need to find this book of names. And this man who put them together, they need to find where he hid that book of names and everything. So that was that episode. Christina was behind all of it. As far as getting Letty the money to be able to buy the house, the mother did not leave Letty money and everything, and she's pretty much telling Tick, help me with this, and that's how it ended, y'all. So, excuse me. That's it. That's a good show, y'all, but it's weird. But anyways, I'll see you for the next episode. You guys have a great day.